Hi everyone, I'm David Reeder, and we are Off Deck. Part 2 of our interview with Canadian Olympian and NCAA Swimmer of the Year Brittany MacLean coming up right now. So after you finished swimming, you came back, you still had to finish school at Georgia, and so you were around that team a bit. I wanted to ask you a story about how you almost got kicked out of the SEC championships this year.
Yeah, so anyone that knows me well knows that I'm like a very team-oriented person. I am pretty loud, and I love swimming for so many reasons, but one of which because it brought me to the greatest people. And I love being a Georgia Bulldog more than anything. And if you talk to anyone, they will be able to tell you that. Proud of my team, and I'm proud that forever they're going to be my team. So yeah, I went to SEC championships this past year, which were hosted in Knoxville, and I brought my little car that barely made it to Tennessee and back, but drove down after class one day, and I was lucky. My second last semester, I guess it was, I only had classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so I drove down after class on Wednesday and only had to miss one day of school.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked out nicely, and for me, it was just being able to be there was important. I had worked a lot with the team, as a little bit as a volunteer coach, a little bit helping with the management of things, as it's kind of along the lines of my degree, as well as just something I wanted to stay connected with. And a lot of my best friends obviously still on the team. So I had been involved a little bit throughout the year, but nothing's better than an SEC championships. So I wanted to be there. I wanted to be involved. And so I drove down. I was there for the first night of full finals. So they started on Tuesday with just relays, I believe. And then, so I got there in time for finals. And I had spent like the week before making these big signs. And they were on poster board. So, I mean, I don't know the dimensions of a poster board, but everyone can picture it. And so I had 3 signs. One of them just said, like, let's go dogs. The other was, like, dogs on top. And then it had a you're so hot, because that's, like, my statement. It states back to that World Championships I was talking about. One of the older swimmers had said it, and we're like, what's better than hearing you're so hot when you're on the blocks? You get this, like, confidence boost. You know it's me talking. So me and Chantel Van Landingham kind of rolled with it, and we brought it to Georgia. Some people think it's so bizarre, but it was something that we chose that, people knew it was us, and so it was kind of my token statement. So I had it written on a poster. I had those 3 posters, and I was trying to bring in one of my new posters every day. And I worked hard on these posters. They were like cut out construction paper, and anyway, so I brought them to the first session, and I had my big poster, and I was standing. Each team had like their parent section. And I was following rules, so I was staying in my parents' section every time. And I wasn't on deck or anything. I was up in the stands, #1 fan. And day one, I just arrived for finals, so I didn't see how prelims worked or anything. Showed up right in time for the 500 free, which was my old event, so it was cool to be there. First heat up, my best friend, Rachel Zelinska, is swimming for Georgia. So obviously from the start, I was loud and in there. And the first thing I got in trouble for was being on the edge. I was in the first row, holding up my sign, and I was like leaning over the edge of the railing, and they were like, no, not having it. So I was like, okay. But it was just instinct. Like every time I got excited, I'd like run up and cheer and like hold myself over, and then I would kept getting warnings. And so that I started realizing, okay, I need to stop doing this. And then my poster, on the first night, I was like holding it and waving it, and I got a few of the parents being like, they're going to try to take that away from you. And I said, well, why? And apparently there was like a size requirement for things that you brought that like were holding up. So I was like, okay. But at first I didn't really get told about it. So day 2 comes around, I brought in a second one of my signs. And as I mentioned, we rotated as parent section. So we're getting like farther and farther from the pool at this point. And then by the last day, we're like right at the starting block. So I was like moving away. So as far as I was getting, the more useful my sign was. So everyone could see me and know I was supporting them. And obviously my voice is usually pretty helpful, but by, SEC championships, like Worlds is a pretty long meet. So it took me quite some vocal power to get through the competition, especially when you're not swimming. This is one thing I realized. So as a swimmer, I was loud and, out there, but because I was racing too, I wasn't cheering for every single race. But here I was trying to lead the parents. I was trying to cheer for every single Georgia swimmer. So that was challenging to keep my voice up. So anyway, we get through the second day to meet, and I haven't told this story in a while, so I don't know exactly how the days went. But basically, I had my other sign up the next day, and I got I got a warning that first time I had, and I was holding it up, and they just came. There was a lot of policemen and police women in the building just trying to like monitor people, which I understand, it's their job. And also there was, in addition, there was security like for just like event staff kind of thing that were also monitoring us. So when I first got told, I was like, okay, but then I really didn't understand it. And for me, I was like, I'm supporting my team. I wasn't blocking anyone. I always went either in the first row or the last row. So I was below everyone or I was above everyone. And obviously I was with my Georgia people. So the first time I was told, I said, well, if the people behind me don't care, is it really a big difference? But rules are rules. So by the third day, they confiscated my sign. And at the time, the parents, so they took my sign, and I said, really? Like, I worked hard on this sign, and you really just have the power to take it away from me? And they were like, yeah. And eventually we got talking to the girl, and someone beside me had helped me out, and they said, okay, wait, you can come pick it up after the session. So the police officer's like taking it out of my hand, and everyone else is like, boo, like the parents are all like booing them it was funny. Anyway, so it was just an unfortunate situation, and I understood though. I was like, I get it. You have rules, and I'm gonna try to follow them. I didn't necessarily agree with them, but I'm gonna try to follow them. So another one of them was that I couldn't stand, which like to me, I'm at a sporting event. It's kind of bizarre. So I'm like, almost like jumping up and down in the middle of the heats. I mean, everyone is standing by, like when we're cheering, we're standing. And you'd every once in a while have people coming around saying like, please be seated. And I really couldn't like go with that rule. That was a rule that I was like, okay, this is silly. I'm at a sporting event. I bought a ticket to be in here. Yep. And if we're supporting the team, isn't that the point of the event? So anyway, that one I wasn't as lenient with following the rules too. But it was the last day, the last session. I was like, okay, guys. I rallied up all my parents, my Georgia parents, which shout out to them because they're awesome. I rallied them up. I said, listen, we are going to, this is also my last year in the States. I don't know when I'm going to get to watch my Georgia swimmers again. So it was a bit emotional for me. I said, okay, I want to make our presence in the stands. I was losing my voice at this point. I got my signs taken away from me. I felt like I was empty. How can I be someone in the stands that was, that people knew was there? So, and how can I support my team without being in the pool or being there? So, what I did, I went to Staples, or do you guys have Staples in the U.S.? I don't know what the American version. Okay, something like that. Target. I don't know what it was. And I got a big stack of printer paper, and I spent the afternoon writing out a letter on each piece of paper. And so I went up to I got to the pool, and I had Georgia Bulldogs written one letter per paper. So the thing was, and then then I had white paper for the rest of the parents. So we like made our mark. So and granted, my parents, they were awesome, but it looked somewhat funny because some were holding it like this, some were holding it like this, but we had it for a few times. And so when our Georgia people were behind the blocks, we'd spell out our Georgia Bulldogs and try to do our cheers, although voices weren't very prevalent. But we'd like kind of fill the border with some just plain white and hold up our signs, because they told me when I got my sign taken that you were allowed an 8.5 by 11. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do what I'm allowed and do it to the best of my ability. And at the time, that was the best of my ability. So I wasn't breaking the rules. I was just bending them. So, of course, every single one of our parents had an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and we were proud fans. Like I said, I can't be more proud to be a Georgia Bulldog. So it was just about, I had a little bit of my heart was involved in the matter, and I wanted to be helpful, and it was hard to not be helpful in the pool, and so trying to find other ways to do so. But yeah, I also, if you know me well, I get invested easily into things, and I don't like it when people have the ability to change the way that I wanted to do things. So yeah, at first it was, the kicking out is kind of broad, but they confiscated my sign. We got warnings a lot for standing. I had some of the parents defend me, and then they started getting in trouble. So it was interesting. I never had that much issue at a swim meet, but it was fun to be a part of. And like I said, it was just kind of great that I could interact with the parents and still be there and be a part of what I felt was a great meet for them. And yeah, just show support and have my teammates know that I was there and cheering them on no matter what. But kind of got in a little bit of scuff there. But what can you do?
The adventures of a retired Olympic swimmer and Georgia Bulldog.
Seriously, yeah.
So
it's a struggle out there. It is.
Real quick before we let you go, I know we've taken a lot of your time. You're retired. You're out of college. Real quick, what are you doing now?
So I am doing a bunch of little things. First of all, I came home in the summer and I started working for the Toronto Blue Jays part-time, which was awesome. I got involved in events and promotional stuff. We helped run a lot of, the special events going on at the Blue Jays games. So, if you know me, I love Toronto sports as well. So that was really exciting to get into major leagues right away. Although starting from the bottom, but everyone knows you got to start somewhere. So we ran things like the Junior Jays Saturdays, which is a bunch of children's events and different promotional events throughout the week. So that was awesome. Met some great people through that. And it was also a job that I can do knowing I was going to Worlds. So I got the job for Worlds probably March or April, took that with FINA. And so while I was there, since I was in Europe and I had a bit of downtime, luckily with the All-Star break kind of coincided with that for baseball. So I did a bit of traveling with my family and my sister, which was awesome, and saw some really cool places in Europe. For the first time, I traveled without swimming, so that was nice, although I was still doing swimming-related things. And then I came home. I was back with Blue Jays for a little bit, and their season just wrapped up this past weekend. Hoping to stay involved and do some stuff throughout the season with them. And then I'm just starting out as a member of the RBC Olympians program. So basically RBC is the largest bank in Canada, and they run an incredible program that helps either athletes still in sport but out of school and hoping to kind of start their professional careers, or athletes recently retired that are transitioning into the real world. So I'll be stationed at one of the big offices in downtown Toronto. I'll be working in marketing and events, sponsorships, corporate relations, a bunch of new things, and I've never had a real office position, so that's going to be a great opportunity for me. And so I start that after Canadian Thanksgiving, which is just 2 weeks away, a week and a half. So pretty soon I'll be in office. This week I just had an orientation I met up with a lot of the other athletes, which was great. And just it was cool. It's a great opportunity. Like I said, we get to be in the community. We also get the corporate experience, and it's just, they're a really big sponsor of Canadian athletics. And so it's awesome that, we're still a part of the sport, but we're also gaining knowledge from them as a company, which will be great. I'll get to do some speaking engagements with them as well. And then lastly, Martha McCabe, I spoke about her drive across Canada, but she also started up a company called Head to Head. And it's a mentorship company opportunity with basically she had, and I agreed with it, a lot of us go and we speak to these clubs. And in the U.S. you have kind of some clinic opportunities, but I think a lot of us find, you're going to these clubs, you're speaking to the children, they really take in the moment, they enjoy it. But then, when they're young, maybe a week or 2 weeks later, it's going to brush right past them, right? Sure. So the idea of this mentorship opportunity with Head to Head is you're advised, each athlete is with one team. So you are with that team throughout the whole season. You visit them a couple times a month. So it's not just, one simple talk. You're going to be in water with them. You're going to be on land with them. You're going to be interacting with the athletes. And I think it really humanizes you. You're going to be able to be that person for them. and you're going to be an outlet. You're going to be a resource, but also you're just going to be a friend. And I know, one of the groups I'm working with, they're a university team, so it's all ages. So hopefully for them, you can just be someone that they can come to talk to, ask a bit of advice, but just show that, you're just another person like they were. You're another athlete. It's nice to talk about your experiences, but how can maybe that reflect onto them, and how can you help them? There's also, you have an email account set up with the company. So, if swimmers think of random questions, you're always accessible, which I think is awesome. So they can reach out to you if it's something as simple as, what did you have for dinner tonight? Well, this is what I had for dinner. Or, if they want to tell me about a great practice they had, I'd love to hear about it. So I think it's a great company. Like I said, it's just starting out. It's something that she has just been working hard throughout this past, I guess, year. So it's just getting started as September, and the clubs are really getting involved. We have a couple of Toronto-based Olympians, and she's trying to spread it throughout the country as well as throughout a bunch of different sports. So like I mentioned, I'm really proud to be a part of that as well. So I'll be doing that initiative throughout the year, and hopefully it continues to grow so I can be even more a part of it.
Someone's keeping busy.
Yeah, I love, like I said, I think what's been so good about my transition is I want to stay involved in sport, and it's such an important thing to me. And you gain so much knowledge as an athlete, and it's hard to just walk away and be like, okay, I'm done. So part of it is helping others, but the other part of it is using the things that I did learn and finding another passion for it. So I'm hoping with this RBC opportunity, I can be beneficial in an office environment and work in teams there, and maybe use my opinion to just be a new voice in the room. And so, yeah, I like I said, nothing is like full time, taking up all my time, but it's nice to just be involved in a lot of little things, and hopefully it'll end up being kind of some full-time commitments.
Well, Britt, good luck with everything. Obviously, you have a lot going on. Sounds really exciting, and hopefully we'll still see you around the deck at least occasionally going forward.
I will never be too far away. Hopefully, whether it be, maybe doing some broadcasting in the future, but also too, like I mentioned, I'm a Georgia Bulldog for life, so yep. I'm already itching to get back for a football game, and hopefully, they're never far away either. So yeah, I'm excited to stay a part of it.
Big thanks to Brittany MacLean for taking a few minutes to chat today on Off Deck. We appreciate it. Again,
thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Britt. We're back with regular Off Deck episodes, so keep it tuned to swimmingworld.com. I'm David Reeder. Everyone have a great weekend. Talk soon.